Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Phay, and welcome to the channel. So, what are the strongest days of the week? Saturday and Sunday. All of the other days are weekdays. Today, we're taking a look at Invincible, the card game from Indie Boards and Cards. Invincible, the card game, is a 1 to 4 player cooperative deck building game from Indie Boards and Cards. Now, this game is designed by Kevin Riley, Nick Little, and Sydney Engelstein. All right. Now, this is a reskin of what is it? Astro Knights. Astro Knights is a very great game, and it is based off of the Aeon's End game. So it has that whole deck building, but your discard pile you never shuffle. You don't shuffle your draw deck. So as you put them in there, you flip them back over and everything else. So basically, this game is a reskin of Astro Knights. It's set in the Invincible world, and you're basically trying to take on different threats of whatever city you happen to be defending at that point in time. Now, there is a narrative campaign to this. There's also some solo that you can play, but I think you really want to go through that narrative campaign first. It's 4 adventures, and it's basically going to open up everything in the game, and then you can just kind of play whatever you want at that point in time. So I'll tell you what, let me explain how to play the game, and then I'm going to give you my final thoughts. So the first thing you need to do is you need to set up the game. Now, I'm going to assume that you're actually playing the narrative version of this game. You're playing the very first scenario, and that's all you have. You have your decks 1A, 1B, 1C. You're opening those up and nothing else. Okay, and we're just going to go from there. Now, I'm not going to walk through all the setup, or we would be here way entirely too long. It's like several pages in the rulebook on how to do this, but they walk you through it step by step by step. Very simply, it's really easy to do. I'm going to take into consideration that you've already got the game set up and that you're ready to play. All right, and now that you're ready to play, let's take a turn. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take the turn deck. Now, based on number of players and everything else from setup, you're going to turn over the first card, and that's the player that's going to go. All right. And say it's one of our regular players. On your turn, you have the attack phase. If you have any weapons up in your attack row, you can spend those weapons now to do damage. You can do damage to any minions that might be up against the boss you're going up against, or do damage to him himself, or whatever's available for that particular scenario. Okay. Once the attack phase is done, any weapons you use are going to go in the discard pile, and they're going to go in the discard pile in the order that you played them. So play them in however order you want if you want them a certain way. Remember, the order you stack your cards is how they're going to be coming back out. So trying to group cards together is very important in this game. Once you're done with that, you're going to go to the main phase. Now, in the main phase, you're going to have your hand of cards. You're always starting off with 5 cards unless something else happens, all right? And you can do one of a few things. You can play a fuel card, or you can play a tech card for their buy ability, or whatever the tech's going to give it. You can equip a weapon. Now, on your board, you're going to have a little chart off to the side. It's going to say how many weapons you can equip, all right? And you can spend 3 fuel to increase that. And I think it's up to a max of, like, I believe 4 weapons, okay? Maybe 5. But you can put weapons that are equal to that fuel. Now, if that ever drops down lower than the number of weapons you have, you're going to lose some weapons, okay? You can gain a card from the supply by paying its cost in fuel. So you just pay for whatever its cost is. Now, the cards that you're using that you drew from your hand that you're paying for that cost, those are staying in play. You're not putting those in your discard pile until everything's done. But whatever card you buy is going to go straight into your discard pile at that point in time. You can overcharge a tech by paying its cost. Okay, it'll explain that on the card for that. You can pay 3 fuel to gain a slot so that you can have another weapon in it. You can pay 2 to power up. Now, powering up is really good because if you get that all the way up to the top on your power up slot, and I think there's like 5 different slots, and characters may be a little different, but it's going to give you a nice little special ability you can spend that on that's going to do some serious damage, okay, or benefits you greatly. So it's really good to be able to do that, okay. You can activate an ability if you're fully powered up, all right, which is always really good because your abilities are there for particular reasons and they're going to help you immensely. You can receive an assist effect. So there's some cards are going to say assist on them. If a player is doing something and you have a card that is an assist and it can help them out, you can actually play that from your hand, and then it'll go into your discard pile when it's done. Some can actually go back to your hand, just depends on the card. You can activate an afterburn effect. Now, in your discard pile, you're going to notice that there's some cards that are going to have a little red border along the side, and they're going to say afterburn. If it's in your discard pile, once per turn, you can activate that ability. And who knows what it is? Maybe it's return that card to the top of your deck. Maybe it's grab a debris card and put it in your hand or do something else. But you're going to be able to do that. So look at those and pay attention to those afterburns. So as you're putting everything in your discard pile, just kind of keep them out just a little bit so you can see what they are. Okay. Then at the very end of your turn, you're going to go to your draw phase. In the draw phase, you're basically just going to draw back up to a hand of 5. Now, at the end of your turn, if you don't play all your cards, you don't have to discard them, or you can discard them. So you may have that one card. Maybe you don't have enough weapon slots, and you have a weapon card in your hand that you want to keep. Hold on to that, draw back up to 5, just draw your 4. If you ever go to draw a card and you can't, take your discard pile and just turn it upside down. Do not shuffle it, but just turn it upside down and then start drawing off the top. The order in is the order out when they're coming out of your discard pile. Okay? But that's it. That's going to be your turn. Then what you're going to go is going to go to the turn order deck. You're going to pull over another card, and whoever it is, it's going to go next. Maybe it's you again, because you're going to have 2 turn order cards in there. Maybe it's somebody else on your team, or maybe it's the villain. All right. If it's the villain, then we're going to go to the villain phase. Now, the villain is going to have his main phase where he's going to resolve all of the active effects on level tokens. Okay, if he has any, he's going to resolve the active effects on every one of his minions that are in play. Okay, if there's any on those, anything that's stunned, they're not going to be able to activate, of course. Activate, and then you're going to discard the stun tokens if they were activated. Then you're going to go to the draw phase. He's going to have a deck of cards. You're going to draw that card, okay? And you're going to do what it says. If it's a minion, put him into play, put his health tokens on him and whatnot. If he has an instant effect or one revealed type effect, deal with that now, okay? If it's not a minion, but I can't remember what it's called right now, but just a regular card you're going to play, then you do the effects of that card and then put it in the discard pile. If you ever go to draw a card and there is no card to draw, then the minion is going to level up. He's going to have his level up tokens. Say he starts off at level 1, then you're going to get rid of that and you're going to put the level 2 on there. There might be something on there that says as soon as he gains level 2, do X. Then do that at that point in time, but he's going to have a different activate ability going forward. Okay, so you know what that's going to be. And then just complete his turn, draw the card when you're ready, and then you're going to go down. Now, if you ever become exhausted, okay, you ever have 0 health, okay, then each villain has a special effect ability on what's going to happen, and you're just going to go from there. All right. But it's going to keep going round and around, and you're going to keep doing this. So that turn order deck runs out, shuffle it all up, and just keep on going. And you're going to keep playing until one of 2 things happen. Either A, the city you're defending runs out of health, okay, because it's going to start off with a certain number of hit points, and if it runs down to 0, game over. Or you can manage to get the minion down to 0 points, because they're going to start with X number. And if you can manage to get the minion down to 0 points before your city gets down to 0 points, you win Invincible, the card game. Okay, folks, there you go. That was a really high level of how to play this game. There is a lot of stuff to this game that I actually left out because this would be a very long video if I tried to explain all of it and then also wanted to give you my review as well. Okay, I just kind of wanted to give you an idea how the game plays. Let's get to my final thoughts. Now, what do I think about this game? Well, let's see. This is a game that kind of has that Aeon's End vibe, that whole discard pile thing. And that's one of the favorite things that I like about Aeon's End. Now, I'm going to admit, Aeon's End isn't one of my favorite games. I know it's just some people's all-time favorite games for solo gameplay. I've played it a few times. I thought it's a good game, but it's not super high on my list, but I like some of the mechanics. And that deck mechanic I really like. Now, this, to me, is kind of a little lighter version of Aeon's End. Let's kind of think of it that way. But I like that deck mechanic. I love the characters and the way they are. I like how every character, you got your health coming down on the side. You got your special power ability on it, but then you also have the number of weapon slots that you can have and how many you can get out into play. And it's critical to try to get that up too, because if you only got just 1 or 2 weapons for the whole entire game, it's going to be hard to do a lot of damage, especially when you got minions that are just going to be just massively coming out. Okay. Now, I don't really want to spoil everything in this game. So the only thing I want to talk about is in the narrative, the first scenario. Okay. The very first scenario, there's no book you're opening up. There's no pack you're opening up. You just open up decks 1A, 1A, 1B, 1C, and you got to open those up anyways because you can't play the game without any of those cards because those are all of the basic cards you need to play the game. Okay, so there's no spoilers here. You're either playing one or the other. All right. Now, Once the game is set up and you're playing, and you're going up against Flanagan or whatever his name is. I can't Flaxigan or heck, I don't know why I can't remember the Flaxons. There we go. It was an F. Okay, you're going up against the Flaxons. Okay, now the Flaxons, and that's one of the things I was talking about, is they are going to put minions out left and right. But whenever they activate, they're also doing damage to their minions, but then putting more out. So they're constantly coming and going. And I've played games of this where I've had 6 or 7 or 8 minions on the table, and you got to start taking care of them really, really fast. All right. But then again, based on some of your special abilities and how things come out, yeah, sometimes you can just kind of let them ride a little bit and then go deal with them. Okay, it all depends on how your game is playing. But one of the things that's really cool is I like the way that the bad guys are dealt with in this game. Every bad guy, they got their own deck of cards. All right, and so you're playing with that deck of cards. So, like in the case of the Flaxons, they got their minions deck, which is their oh my gosh, they start with an I. I can't even remember what they're called right now. There's something on the screen that's going to tell you what they are. All right, so they have their deck of little cards there that are coming out constantly every turn. But then they also have their play deck, which is constantly being played. And so every turn you're drawing one of those cards, and it's either another minion coming out or it's something that's you're just going to have to deal with it. Whatever it's going to be, maybe it's going to do damage to you or something else, and then it's going to go into the discard pile. And based on that, the cool thing is that deck, based on the number of players you have, is going to be relatively thin. So, for example, the last game I played was just a solo game, but I played two-handed. So there was really only 3 cards in that main deck, which means by the time I'm ready for him to make his 4th turn, he's already leveling up, because you have only a certain number of cards are going to be in that intro deck, and the rest of the cards are going to be in the discard pile, and then they're eventually going to get shuffled in once he levels up to level 2, and now you're going to see all of the cards. Okay, and they're all going to come out, and then he's going to, of course, get to level 3, level 4, but you're seeing all the stuff that's for the higher level, what would be out with the higher level character count at the beginning of the game. I think that's actually really cool. Every bad guy you go up against in this game is going to be totally different, because they're having their own deck of cards, and it's going to be very custom to them and very thematic to them. Now, when it comes to theme in this game is dripping with theme. I love the theme. Now, yes, this is a reskin of Astro Knights, but to me, there is no Astro Knights in this game because I've never played Astro Knights. This game is all Invincible. Everything about this game just drips the Invincible IP and just screams at it. It is so good. The way they've integrated in there, absolutely love that. I love, like I've already talked about, how their discard pile stays into play. Now, one of the cool things about that discard pile is when you're buying cards, you're going to see some cards that are going to have a little red border on them. Okay, and that little red border is going to tell you when you can play them in certain phases. All right, there's the afterburn phase. That's what it is. So the afterburn is when that card's in your discard pile on your turn. Okay, during your main phase. If it's already in your discard pile, because remember, if it's in your hand, it doesn't, until the end of your turn, it doesn't go in your discard pile. So a previous turn, if it's in your discard pile, you can do its ability. And it may be, hey, you get to grab a debris card and put it in your hand, which is really cool, because then at the beginning of your turn, you can grab that and boom, and you can actually play it out. The weapons won't fire until next turn, but you're going to have it, okay, which is really nice. Some of the effects will affect somebody else. You can help somebody else with them. Sometimes if it's in your discard pile as your main phase, you can put it on top of your deck, for example. There's a lot of cool abilities like that. You also need to pay attention to those red border cards, because there are some that are like, when you buy the card, they just go on the top of your deck. So you got to pay attention to that as well, because you may want to buy those in certain situations. Okay, maybe you just put a really super powerful card on the bottom of your deck and you're ready to draw cards back up. All right, and on your next turn, you're going to be able to get that, be able to add it, and just sink it right in. Deck building is really big in this game. Trying to get all your cards so that they sync up really, really good together is also really big in this game. And that's one of the things that's really cool. Absolutely love that. This game, I mean, to me, this is a fantastic game. I would play this over Aeon's End any day of the week. I've played Aeon's End multiple times. I've played it a couple times with my buddy Chris, his copy. I've played it with another one of my buddies, Greg. I played his. And I'll tell you what, I remember more of this game, and I like this game way better than I do Aeon's End. I may be in the minority here, but I think this is a really, really good, fun game. And this game here, I didn't know about this game until just a few weeks ago. And once I found out about this game, I looked into it and I'm like, hey, this game looks really good. And Astro Knights, I've heard of Astro Knights, and it was one of those games that kind of got on my radar, but then I totally forgot all about it. But based on this, I want more. I mean, after playing this a couple different times, I need more. I need more Invincible. I heard this was a Kickstarter, I think, so there may be some other stuff out for it now. I got to go look for. But what I want to do is I want to go back and I want to look at the original Astronauts game. I absolutely want to play it, and I want to see how that works. And I know that you can integrate this game into Astronauts, and you kind of combine them together, and that could be a whole lot of fun as well. But I absolutely love this game. I cannot recommend this game enough. If you like really good thematic deck building games, I think you're going to love this. If you like Aeon's End and maybe you want something maybe a little lighter or that's going to play just a little bit different, I think you're going to love this game. If you just like deck building games in general, I'll tell you what, this game to me is probably my top 10 of 2025, and I cannot recommend this one enough. Thank you once again for joining me today. As always, I please ask you to like this video on YouTube, Board Game Geek, Facebook, or even on X. Please leave me a comment on any one of those platforms, and I'll get to those comments just as soon as I can. And also, folks, if you like the videos I do here, if you haven't done so already, I humbly ask you to click on the subscription button and even click on the bell and be notified when I drop new videos. And also, if you like the videos I do here, I also post videos over on the Discriminating Gamers channel. Over there, we'll do some unboxing, some playthroughs, and some reviews. I'll leave a link to Cody's channel down in the details below. So don't you hate it when people answer their own questions? I do.